In case you're wondering, Jif Lemon was left behind in the boat actually when I bought it. I know it's called Sif nowadays, but I'm old, so I call it Jif still. And I know that most of you are old as well because I see the analytics, so you probably know it as Jif too. Welcome back. Episode 9. I'll get the episode number right this time. As always, time is a constant pressure, but I'm finding that having people who want to see this stuff, God knows why you do, but you do, so bless you. But having you there actually is quite good. It requires me to keep on track, to be accountable really to you guys. I think if I hadn't ended up stumbling across creating a YouTube channel, there's no way on earth that this project would be as far forward as it is now, even if it doesn't really seem sometimes like it's very far forward. But you know, some progress is fast, some progress is slow, but it's all progress. So without further ado, what am I doing this week? Well, what aren't I doing this week? I don't know really. I've got to finish painting. I will try and edit in a shot of where we are now down there, and I've got to cover up some of the bits you can see behind me with the dodgy paint. I've got to clean out the bilge because it's full of water, and then I have to get into the keels as well to take out the foam. I did record a while back but never really posted a video about investigating the keels, which I will try and potentially edit into this one so that you can see what the situation is and see my plan for rectifying it. But in short, it seems as though everything's okay, pretty much, but certainly the foam at the top of this is 50 years old, so it's gone. So I've got new foam, but it will involve cutting a sort of letterbox in the top of each keel underneath the cabin seats here, taking out the old foam, putting in the new, and then sealing it back up again, as well as making sure that it's all dry, of course. Still got to finish these bulkheads. Well, technically I've still got to start these bulkheads. And the whole place is, well, filthy, I think would probably be an understatement. I will show you, you know, the sink. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I've got the Henry Hoover out, and job number 1 today, well actually it's job number 2. Job number 1 was to soak up a bit of the water that's been still getting inside, I think before the windows were on and so on. Job number 2 is to have a bit of a hoover around, try and clean off some of the crud, and just get things a bit more presentable. I'm hoovering before I go into the quarter berths because they are full of absolute rubbish, and I don't want to get completely filthy when I go down in there. And then paint, and then we'll see how we go. In case you're wondering, Jif Lemon was left behind in the boat actually when I bought it. I know it's called Sif nowadays, but I'm old, so I call it Jif still. And I know that most of you are old as well because I see the analytics, so you probably know it as Jif too. I mean, I wouldn't wash anything up in there just yet, but we're not a million miles away. Oh, you had a before shot. So, let's see if I can't get an after shot. Still need to sort out this bit. Oh, but let's just get this covered up first. I've got to do something about this. I do have the stuff up above to take care of that. For the time being, I can just cover it up again and make it waterproof and watertight in a minute. The ironic thing is that all of this white paint is going to be covered up anyway, which is partly why I'm not taking too much care over it. But I just don't think I could sleep in here knowing that I was sleeping right next to, you know, what I could see. Right, time to go into the lion's den. I'm not doing the wood because it's going to come out anyway. I suspect there'll be some sort of shelving in here, unless I need to get access to the back of it. So this is just more for my OCD, I think, than anything else. I'm over here now. This is going to be fun. Assuming I don't fall into the bilge, I mean everything else has so far. Welcome to one-handed painting at odd angles. You're probably asking yourself, Giles, did you need to paint the back of the sink? And funny enough, I'm now asking myself the same question. But, you know, a bit cleaner, if nothing else. bits carefully. One thing I have noticed since the windows went in is condensation. Not helped, I presume, by the fact that the space where the vent is currently badly blocked up, therefore leaking water, and is shortly about to be very well blocked up. Now I need to replace the washboard, because as you can see it's delaminating at the bottom, and I'm wondering if I should prioritise that. And what I'm thinking is 2 layers of ply with possibly a perspex sheet for a little bit of light. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But also a open and closable vent just to allow a bit more airflow through. I mean, it's going to be hard enough to track down the various leaks and things in the boat without having to then worry about whether it's an actual leak or is it condensation. So if this can relieve it slightly, that's fine. I mean, I would put the vent back on. The problem is when I took it out, it had a round surround that was affixed to the, or through the top of the boat. And that's wooden and just came apart in my fingers as I took it off. So I do need to make a replacement for that, but something which is suitable for long-term use on the boat. So yeah, just more little things cropping up. And I do realise that I kind of dive from thing to thing and there doesn't seem to be any structure. But I think that's probably because there isn't really any structure. So yeah, you know, oh well, makes it more fun. I know I spent much of the last episode advising against the use of duct tape, but I think in this instance it's the lesser of 2 evils. Right, another day and another stab at trying to get the boat nice and dry, which involves this jury-rigged absolute abomination. At heart, it is a manual bilge pump, which I will be using and will be installing in one of the cabin lockers. However, for various reasons, I've basically gaffer-taped a load of HozeLock connectors to it because it doesn't need to go a very long distance initially. It's just going to be basically trying to empty out the bilge into that basin so that I can then clean out the bilge and hopefully, this is a key thing, hopefully see that it stays dry from that point on. So let's see how it works. It only has to hold together for about 40 pumps, but knowing my luck, it probably won't even do that. Right, that wasn't working very well, so I swapped out the end for this big hose. I'm just hoping it's got sufficient suction to go the distance, as it were, and hopefully we can do it a bit quicker. Till it does that. Certainly more effective. Problem with this bit, it might be getting the nozzle underneath. No, it's not possible. There's not a huge amount of water in those ones, so I think I can probably manage with maybe a mop, sponge perhaps, to get that out. So that and what we call in our house dog towels, because they're towels for dogs. I ended up just going straight for the dog towels because I couldn't find a sponge. So let's see. There we go. I'm literally chucking them under and letting them hopefully mop up quite a lot of water. I do wash these. I don't then dump them in the family washing. I'm not that much of an animal. Are we going in here now? At the point where we can start getting out some of the crap that's ended up in here, either because of me or before my time. Right, I'm going to go and rinse out these dog towels. Hopefully get them in the washing machine while the wife is distracted. Might spill some gin or something. And carry on with something else while they're cleaning and drying. I think one more go with 5 of them. I think that's how many I used in the end. Should do the trick. I mean, it's in a bit of a state down there. It really is. But, you know, lick of paint, bit of sanding, get it dry first. Everything else should follow from that, really. Let's find out. Right, so with the boat in a slightly cleaner and drier state, I'm playing match up the locker tops to the lockers, and I'm not winning, as you will see. So, starting at the stern of the boat, I'm pretty certain those two, the nearest one I've refurbished, the one at the back I haven't. Hopefully you can tell the difference. I think that's where they go. Over on this side, I have two more, which do look like they fit. Now, in an older video, I did say that some of them were quite obviously replacements, and I think that's one of the replacements because it's much thinner. And that one there, I think, is actually the door to the fridge. Not entirely sure, but yeah. And then if we turn around, nothing's really great here. There's that one, which actually fits relatively all right. That one, which doesn't really fit all right at all. And that one at the back, which doesn't fit either. And then that, I'd always thought, was the top of the toilet, but it doesn't in any way, shape or form fit on top of that square. And I'll prove I'm not just being stupid by turning it around. And then, just to complicate matters, I've got these two bits. And I have no idea what they are, but I have refurbished them. Now, a lot of them, or rather at least two, have got that sort of corner cut out. So I'm going to have to look at the original plans and see if I can marry up what I've got versus what I need, and then potentially remake some replacements, or the very lovely Jason Joyce has offered me some from a sea witch that he's breaking at the moment. That's that one as a door. As you can see, it's got sort of metal flaps on the bottom, which kind of spring it quite neatly into place. Although, yeah, I think that would probably survive. And it did have a strip of wood on there that said pantry, which is kind of how I know it's the door. So, yeah, on we go. So overall, I would say that's been quite a productive week. You know, it certainly looks much nicer in there. It's much cleaner. The water's nearly empty. And with the locker tops back on, I can at least stop dropping stuff down the bilge until the point where I have to take them off so that I can paint and fully clean out the bilge. But that will be a task for the week ahead. As ever, thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, if you enjoyed it, then press the subscribe button. That'd be great. It doesn't really do much. Makes me feel a bit better, I think. So thank you, and see you in the next episode.